here at Fluty Lake Homestead, and today we're going to be using this Dewitt landscape fabric and covering our garden. And I've got my staples here, and I bought galvanized staples, that way they don't rust so fast. These a little more, but they'll last a lot longer. And here in my roll, I've got a hay twine. Just run through it. That way when I start, I'll staple one end down, and we can just walk and pull it as we go. So I've already got my garden tilled up here, so we're going to go in here and lay this down. Lincoln's got 3 rows laid on here, and this don't look good here, but we're putting it on the steepest part of this bank below our garden. That way there's no weeds coming up, and then if we plant any vines like a butternut squash or something, they can just grow out over this. And I don't have to get in here weed eating, and it covers up all the weeds and rocks, and easier to get in here and maintain everything. So we're going to just put some stakes in here, and then as we pull the next row, Lincoln's been pulling the little stakes up and putting them down through the both up. Well, me and Lincoln already had these peas right here. So instead of cutting this stuff or whatever, we just took and put it in line with our row we had here, and we folded it under and then put the stakes in. That way we didn't damage this row of material. And then if we, when the peas are done, we can always unfold it and cover that row up if we want to, or we can just dig right there and plant beans or whatever. But that way it saves the material for future use. Okay, we've got almost the whole garden covered, and I gotta go in and get ready for church. But I think about 2 more swipes up here, and we'll have the whole thing covered up. Really, I've got all the plantable ground covered except for that one patch, but I'm gonna cover the bank and all to keep the weeds out. And I don't know, it looks pretty good, a little wrinkly, but it's hard to lay this on a hillside. If I was on the level ground, this would be perfect. So we're going to try it out and see how it does on this sloped garden. You can see by this fence post that it's on a pretty good grade, but we're going to give it a shot. But anyway, we got some cabbage and stuff we're going to plant in it tomorrow, so we'll see how it does. Well, I got the stakes in this plastic. Well, I don't know if you call it plastic, it's landscape fabric. And I'm still going to put me a row around this edge by my fence, keep the weeds out. I think it turned out pretty good. And like I said, this don't look quite as good, I don't think, on this hillside as it would on the level, but I'm going to give it a shot. I believe if this was in a level garden, it would work really, really, really well. And I'll be using it in my other garden, and it is level, so I'm anxious to see the difference. But all in all, I can still walk on it good, and not too bad. As you can see how steep that is. And I covered up that whole bank, and I'm excited to see how it works this year. I'm getting ready to start burning some holes to plant some cabbage in it. So I'm going to make sure I mark where I want my rows. I've got these lines every foot, which the ones where they join might be off just a few inches, but I tried to get the lines pretty close. But this will be a whole different experience for me now, where I'm used to laying off a row in the dirt compared to, you know, using this material. So we'll see how it does. All right, we're gonna put some holes in here for our cabbage. And you see there, I've already got them started. I decided to go in the middle row, in the middle of the plastic. That way, no matter where I use this material again, the rows will all be in the same spot. So I'm going about every 16 inches. And I got this little propane torch, and I'm burning a hole. Now there's a lot neater ways I'm sure you could do this. I've seen them use soup cans and heat them up. I've seen them cut baseball bats. But for right now, this is what I've got figured out. So this is what we're doing. But I may try to make me a thing to fit on the end of this torch. This is all trial and error here on the Fluty Homestead. I've never done this. But I hope it works out really well. The only ones I'm not going to put in the middle rows, I may do the, whatever I plant my onions, I'll be doing them a little different because I want them closer. Yeah, so I'll put a hole about every 6 inches, probably on the, I guess on the lines. I'll use the red lines. Let's see, that may be as far as I go on this row. I'm getting to where this big rock is under here. So, how many holes we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, I think I've got 14 or 15 cabbages. So we'll go in the next row above it, and that's where we'll start some more holes. So I've got some broccoli, and the reason I'm not doing this row I'm standing on is because where I already had these peas planted, the rows wasn't evenly spaced with what the plastic is. So I just left this little patch empty, and I'll have a little more walking room right here, but that's okay. I'd rather just keep the holes uniform. That way the material can be used other places and work out the same. So I'll go right up here above it now, and I'll burn me some holes down that row, and we'll be ready to plant us some cabbage. Alrighty, y'all. I showed you this landscape fabric I put down, and I planted a few cabbages and broccoli out here. And I just thought I'd show you, after I burnt the holes, I'd show you some of these plants I put in the ground here. So here they are. You can see that's the holes I burned. And using the middle spacing in the fabric worked out really good for spacing in between my rows. And I just took my hand and reached in there and dug me a hole and popped a plant in the ground. I'd say a real easy way to do it is if you had one of them little auger bits on a drill or like a bulb planter. It'd be a really good way to do it. My ground's a little rocky, so it's a little more of a challenge. And this whole garden's a challenge. It's on a hill, but it does a fine job. So I think I got the holes about the right size. We'll find out. They're big enough I can fit my fist down in. And by the time these cabbages really start growing, they ought to shade out anything that would ever grow in them holes. This little row here is broccoli. I got one cabbage plant on the end. I run out of room on this row. I had 14 holes and I had 15 cabbages. So I couldn't fit another one down here because that big boulder. But I got cabbage and broccoli planted. And next I'm going to try to figure out where I want to put my candy onions. I ain't for sure where I'll put them at yet here. I may just continue on this row, or I thought about putting them on the very first row up here. So we'll see what I do. But I'm about out of daylight for the night, so I may just stew on that for the day. Appreciate y'all watching. Hope you have a very blessed day.